All right, so I'm going to show you a deadlift progression today, and this is a great way to go if you're new to deadlifting and you want to get into it safely. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of exercises to kind of move through to make sure that you're kind of activating the muscles that we want to and learning the technique before we start to load the spine. If you've deadlifted a lot before and you have any issues with low back pain associated with deadlifting, or you're not quite sure, or you've hit a plateau, then someone's taking a little bit of time and going back and running through these progressions can really set you up for a lot of gains. So we're focusing mostly on stabilizing the hips and improving hamstring range of motion for these exercises, which have tremendous carryover to the deadlift. So the first one I'm going to show you is a Kettlebell Good Morning. So for the Kettlebell Good Morning, we're loading in front of the face. Normally a Good Morning would have the weight on your back and you would hinge over this way. With the Kettlebell Good Morning, we're going to be pulling the elbows up, and I want you to press the elbows as close together as you can and maintain that portion of your arm stays parallel to the floor. When we do this, you're going to be pulling up with the shoulder, which is attached to the lat. So you're going to, or the arm here is attached to the lat. So this will stretch out the lat all the way through the glutes and the hamstrings. And you will notice in this position that when you lift those elbows up, the stretch intensifies on the hamstring. So this really teaches you what the hip hinge should feel like, because it's going to show you where you should be feeling it. And if you do, when you're holding the kettlebell, in that Kettlebell Good Morning, if you start to round the upper back, the weight will fall forward. So you'll get immediate feedback if you're starting to break your form. So it's an excellent one for learning. It's also very, very lightweight. Will feel very heavy. So it's an excellent one for somebody training at home, because you don't need to have all sorts of weight. You can do a few sets of these and your lower back and hamstrings will be really lit up, and you only need, but 10 pounds is actually quite heavy for this. So what I'm going to have you do, you start with the feet set about shoulder width apart. You're going to take that kettlebell, loop your thumbs under there. If you're using a dumbbell, you can hold it however it feels comfortable. You're going to lift, get parallel to the floor, elbows together. And although you can bend your knees, I don't want you creating depth from the knee. So slight bend in the knee, and then you're going to think about pushing those hips back. You're going to lean and drive those hips back and forward. So common mistake here is that people get to this position and they bend the knees and they start doing something like this. So we don't want that. So slight bend in the knees, hips go straight back. If you're having a hard time initiating that hip drive, stand with a wall about a foot behind you and think about the goal of the exercise is reaching back and touching that wall. And that will get you focusing on the hip hinge. Yep. So that is the Kettlebell Good Morning, one of my favorites.